And this is why you don't want to catch a federal case. More drama for Luce Cannon, Bricc Baby, and Big U, even in the lockup. So the narrative went out on the internet yesterday. Oh, Bricc Baby and Luce Cannon, who had been calling home every day, and Sharice Mills live streaming their calls and all that, suddenly they can't be found. So some people are implying that meant they were in PC and they're going to snitch. I don't know. Bricc Baby has a gun case. He's not snitching in that case. And Luce Cannon, Big U, if you look through that indictment document, they use more of his own words against him than anyone else. But anyways, they got into a fight. So it was first described as Luce Cannon was fighting a guy, getting the best of him. His boy jumped in. Bricc jumped in to help him. It became a melee. So you might think, well, what was that? Some of the other people in the indictment? Was it Hispanic? Was it random? Because that MDC, LA, there's not that many federal detention centers like New York has one, LA, Chicago. Like even a big city, Detroit, doesn't have their own federal detention center. There's not many of them. Detroit people get held in Milan, or they might go to Chicago. Milan's a federal prison that's near Detroit. So a federal detention center's got all serious people in there. Cartel, white supremacist, street gangs, public enemy number one. They just had the Aryan Brother, two different Aryan Brotherhood indictments with multiple homicides. There's always Mexican mafias in there. Not to mention all the other things that go on in L.A. You know, people running photographs of children rings, just all of that stuff. But today's update is that it was over the word naps. So this is just the gang thing. It's just a never ending, beyond the hassles of being in the street. And if you're allegedly committing crimes or whatever, plus you got to be in lockup with Hobbs Act violations. I mean, Luce Cannon is looking theoretically at a long time. Bricc Baby, he may come out like Crip Mac. What did Crip Mac get? 33 months. Bricc Baby doesn't seem too worried. Bricc Baby, might get a couple of years if it's just a gun case. And the fact that he wasn't in jail after his gun case, the state just didn't pick it up. I mean, I know multiple gang members who've been to prison here in L.A. who got caught with guns and get 6-9 months in the county. Like, California's it's not like, gun laws have changed a lot in the United States. Like, unless the feds pick them up, people don't necessarily get that much time. You got the right to bear arms. There's been a big change in that whole, you're a felon and you got a gun, you're getting slammed. You might, but anyways, so supposedly this fight was, someone called someone a nap, which is the derogatory name for neighborhood. So I guess is that Hoover Blood Alliance, what is it, Swooping, Moving, and Grooving, which is the Hoovers, the Bloods, and the gangsters, the A-Tray gangsters and other gangster Crips. Hopefully that they're not having to deal with that in addition, but all that stuff doesn't go away. That whole thing with DW Flame and Bricc Baby and the nap thing on No Jumper, I didn't know the insane Crips in Long Beach, I guess, are tied in with the Hoovers, which Hoovers, just the geography of L.A., Hoovers are in the middle between the east and the west side. The 110 freeway, which runs pretty much through the middle of South, well, they don't really call it South Central, South Los Angeles. Figueroa is right next to the freeway, and Hoover is right next to the freeway. And that central strip is like, all those Hoover neighborhoods seem like, even beyond the gangs, like just bad areas, because the whole stroll, drugs, Freeway Rick got his name because supposedly he had if you go down the 110 freeway coming out of downtown LA to 30th, 35th, 40th, 45th, 80th, 90th, all that, you could get off at every exit and he had a crack house. Was that an exaggeration? Maybe, but just give you a flavor of like the Hoover turf. And point being, the Hoovers seem to be active with everybody. Well, definitely the neighborhood people. That seems like, I mean, I try not to keep up with it too much. So did Bricc and them get into it with some of those guys? So they're in the hole. Now, Sharice Mills implied Big U helped in the melee or whatever, because they're not. It gets tricky. Like, even if when you go in jail, well, first of all, under the LA gang thing or just the LA jail politics, it becomes racial. So even if you're beefing in jail, you're supposed to stick together racially. Now, does that apply in the federal lockup? Is that, I guess, in the county jail, is still gang beefs? The amount of mental bandwidth you have to, I mean, I said that to some of my friends here. I was like, damn, man, the amount of, you got to think about, just, oh, can I go here? I shouldn't do this with that one. Don't say this. Like, half of your mental energy is gone before you even did anything else, thinking about all these permutations of who you can deal with, who you can't, what you can say, etc. But Bricc and Luce are in the hole. Of course, they had a phone call the other day with Sharice where Luce was like, you'll never guess who's in the cell with me, Bricc baby. Well, it's not that surprising, because you can get people moved into your cell. That's pretty much normal protocol, because the police, remember, there's a small amount of police. All these federal lockups are understaffed. There's a small amount of police that have to try to keep a lid on a lot of volatile people. And easier if you have cellmates who can coexist with each other. You know, that saves a lot of stuff, because putting two guys in a cell don't like each other, or who ain't going to get along, or just have a personality conflict, that's a recipe for a lot of problems. So if some guys know each other, and even though Luce and Bricc had their kind of weird thing, once they knew they were getting indicted, and, well, not together, but that they were probably going to be in trouble at the same time, and they hadn't really said anything too bad about each other, and they checked each other's resume, and I guess they each were like, oh no, he's not fake. So they had a mutual respect, it seems like. And once you're in jail, like, even just knowing somebody and being slightly cool with them on the outs, that becomes like your best friends, because at least you know who this person is. Because in jail you meet people, they tell you who they are, but you people in there are weird. You don't know what, they're really like. So, Bricc and Luce not snitching or in the hole for fighting. It's not something with Big U. Big U and that his going away post. I mean, I don't even mess with Luce and Bricc. Well, Bricc has nothing to really do with Big U's problem. So again, even if they said some things about each other that were kind of funny, Bricc didn't say anything much about Big U negative in public. Well, he didn't at all. So no reason Big U really would have any animosity towards Bricc, and Brick's not on this case, so it really doesn't matter. Luce Cannon been talking crazy about him, but they're in the same boat now, though. So it seems like Luce Cannon and 600 and every Whack 100, everybody that was conspiring to bring up all these stories about Big U, they were all with them at Nipsey Hussle. Nipsey Hussle, the girl SKG, all these people that are victim number one, Monster Morrison, the illegal dispensary owner that was getting taxed. All these people were down with you until they weren't. So they were with you's activities. These aren't random victims. They were all not just cool with you, they were doing stuff with you until you did something, whether it's just he runs over everybody, or could be that the young guy from Crenshaw High who came up dead in Vegas that they're trying to pin on you Maybe that was just a bridge too far. People were like, oh no, he's foul for that. I don't know. But this all being said, I do want to say, don't have your mind boggled if you comes up out of this not too bad. Because why? Well, again, everybody making allegations, all these crime victims thus far, these aren't citizens, right? Someone, okay, you're illegal dice game. These NBA players would have to testify. An illegal dispensary operator, you're extorting him, or are you business partners? See, I was told they were presenting it. So if me and you go into business and we have an agreement, right? I help you set it up or whatever, and you're supposed to kick me some money every week, but that part isn't said, and now you just hear wiretaps of me like, oh, where's my $1,000? Well, what if you owe it to me? So I'm not, obviously I've made a bunch of these things, and Bricc U sounds like he was up to some nefarious activities, but to be fair, all these people, like I just did the story about the SKG girl, these are not, random super normal citizens. They were all doing stuff with you to some degree, and then it went sideways for whatever reasons. So who knows how they're aligning themselves up in there. Luce Cannon and Bricc U are in the same boat, unless one's going to flip on the other. But I don't think Luce Cannon is planning on getting on the stand and saying anything. They're going to, all this talking on social media got him indicted, but is it going to hold up in court? It may, but all these robberies would have to be corroborated. So you're going to have to get the victims. So just because they're talking about it on a wiretap, Meek Mill would have to come in court and say, oh, yeah, they made $50,000 get brought. Gilly the Kid is going to have to come say, oh, yeah, they stripped me. These NBA players are going to have to say, yeah, we were at a crooked dice game and we thought Adrian Bronner cheated us, so we called Bricc U and he got our money back. This isn't a domestic violence case or something where their state can just pick it up. Like, the victims are going to have to say, did these crimes actually happen? And because they're all criminal adjacent or doing the same stuff you was, if they can't get him for the murder, now where I'd be shocked if he didn't get some time because of the money trail through developing options, because it's very easy to see, a phone call was made at 2:30 to Draymond Green. Draymond Green says, I donated $20,000. They see the $20,000 go into developing options bank account, and then they see it move straight into Eugene Henley's bank account. Now, when you're running something, a nonprofit, you can pay yourself as the administrator, obviously, but you don't pay yourself like that, right? You pay yourself $1,500 a week or something. You don't get a $20,000 donation and move it straight to yourself, if that's what happened. That monster guy, now he's being listed as victim one, so it sounds like he's planning to testify. He was trying to do an interview with me. They were looking for money. I guess I don't generally pay people. I offered him a little something. I guess it wasn't what he wanted, and that's fine. He doesn't have to give me an interview. He can, hopefully he gets paid what he wants to get paid with whoever. But they're going to need people to actually get on the stand. These stories have to be corroborated. So, there's certainly a possibility that all this crazy stuff, the extortion, robbery stuff, could not stand up in court. The money embezzlement through developing options, and I'm sure the city, the powers that be, are very upset. They've been made to look stupid. You're giving a gang leader money for the grid program. That might be what they really get them on, and that actually carries the most time. The RICO carries 20 years, the bank fraud stuff carries 30. So that might be his biggest problem. a lot of these other things could very well go away. Now, they're probably trying to dig up more stuff. I'm sure Eric Holder is being given an opportunity to give information. I don't know if he has any. Adam 22 said he's been getting videos sent to him of Big U and Eric Holder together. Is that weird? Yeah. Does it prove something? No. Now, he has denied interacting with them, but I can lie about who I interact with. That doesn't mean you can pin a crime that he did on me, right? Lying in public isn't a crime. Only lying under oath is. Remember that. Lying in public ain't a crime. Only lying under oath is. So this is just so fascinating because it's playing out. This is like our first real case to just where the streets are the internet in this case. And for those of you talking like, oh, this isn't how gangsters operate. Listen, this is the world we live in. This is technology. People are making money. If these guys would go and take people's chains or sell drugs, whatever people do for money, why wouldn't you talk on YouTube for money? You'd be stupid not to. I'd tell any of these guys when they ask me about it, I'm like, sure, you should. I mean, you have to stay within your own morality of what you think is right or wrong to talk about. But, if you're somebody used to hit licks or sell stuff, why wouldn't you talk on the internet for money? And if you guys don't have a problem with other stuff they may do, why do you have such a problem with this? So, and when you think, well, why is Luce Cannon still calling home and all that? As someone who's studied all these, the big drug dealers and stuff, mafia members, when this is what you do for a living, it doesn't stop because you're in jail, guys. Big Meech, it appears, was just setting up drug deals all along for his whole time, and his whole time in prison, or at least in the beginning years. A lot of guys are rolling from jail. My documentary Motown Mafia, if you haven't seen it, we're working on another one, Beyond Street Dreams. So this is Courtney Brown Sr. He got sent to prison in the 70s for being Detroit's biggest drug kingpin. In the early 80s, when he was getting ready to get out, and a lot of the money that he had left had finally gotten spent, and his family needed a little money, and he wanted some money when he got out. The Westies, which were Irish murderers, organized crime out of New York, they approach him in prison, and they're like, hey, we know you sell a lot of heroin, you're a stand-up guy. For whatever reason, they didn't want to sell it in New York. Maybe they had stolen it from somebody. So you had these Irish gangsters in federal prison send their guys from the street to Detroit to drop off lots of H, like bricks and bricks of untouched H, to these black gangsters in Detroit who ran through it, paid the money, and everything was good. So stuff doesn't stop. Luce Cannon and Bricc Baby been making money talking on the internet. Why stop now? I mean, why stop now? As long as they don't incriminate themselves. Bricc Baby just has gun charges. Bricc Baby hasn't said he robbed anybody. And the thing about Luce Cannon and Big U, supposedly, with these celebrities and these rappers aren't gonna, they'd ruin their image. They're not gonna say that, oh yeah, I had to give up my chain. So a lot of those charges probably aren't gonna stick. The extortion on victim number one, the monster guy, well, he's not going to be the greatest witness on the stand. He has sex trafficking charges that had underage women in it. Now, I don't know if that part got dropped or not, but he was convicted of some of that stuff. And then he has a pending case involving drugs to Ohio now, if I'm not mistaken, which means it'd be easy to make it look like he was Big U's partner, but he's making it seem like he was being shook down so he can get out of trouble, right? Big U is everybody's ace in the hole. If you can say Big U did something bad to you, you get out of jail free. I think it's all going to come down. Big U's going to go to prison probably for money stuff. Excuse me, with the developing options, if only because it's an embarrassment to the powers that be that this guy who at least appears to be the boogeyman, was being given money. So I predict he's definitely going to get convicted on some financial charges. A lot of this other stuff may kind of go away. Be surprised. I mean, depends who testifies against him. But none of the charges against the other people are bad. And, do people tell? Well, a person might not tell if they got to do 5 or 7 years. A person might tell if they got to do 25. I don't know if anyone other than Luce Cannon is really facing that type of time, but he's in the same boat as you, that if none of these celebrities verify these stories, there's no crime. So they might not be as bad off as you think. They may be sticking together in there on the neighborhood Crip car against whoever else, I don't know. But Bricc Baby and Luce Cannon are not out somewhere snitching. They're in the hole. And they'll be back because there's nowhere else for them to take them. And remember, we're interested in this case, and it seems like a big deal, and it is, but that Metropolitan Detention Center there in downtown LA is full of serious people with serious charges. They're not the only ones there. It's not like that jail is going to reorganize everything just for them 3 guys or whatever. So, victim number 1, Monster, is someone that might not make the greatest witness, depending, again, because he has pending charges. Big U's problem is going to be these financial charges. And and of course, the murder. Can they pin this murder on him? And I'm sure they're digging back into the Nipsey Hussle. And it is quite interesting that Big U did have a real lawyer. Not because you get fake, even me, I get like fake legal documents of someone, you use my picture, I want $1 million. And you can just ignore them because it's nothing. But No Jumper got a real lawyer letter about that Luce Cannon saying Big U called him prematurely 30 minutes early about the death of young Mr. Hussle. He got it taken off. And Adam 22 is not out of the woods. He just made that announcement about No Jumper's not doing as well as it was. I knew that. As soon as the pandemic slowed down, because I knew from my numbers and everybody's numbers, that was an artificial bump because everybody was in the house. When he was walking around that warehouse, I said, oh, he made a mistake. And he went through and is going through a bigger version of what I did, where you think, like, oh, let me have some employees and put other people podcasts. But I quickly was like, oh, no, I don't want to do this, because then you got to manage these people. Now, I'm out profit, so I don't necessarily need other people. I just figure I'll just be me and make my content and worry about building myself up. Why have a team? All the drama and hassles up there are not Adam 22. They're all these other people. So I'm sure he regrets now. We're probably going to see a big change in podcasting. I mean, as the interest in rap music itself is kind of, no one talks about the music. All these podcasts now are people, gang beefs in Chicago, everywhere. But with what just happened, I'm sure people will start being more careful as well. They should. And if you're not going to have people talk reckless on these podcasts, what are these podcasts going to be left to talk about? They ain't talking about the music. If you can't talk about the street stuff, they already ran through all them nasty porn stars. You got Soft White Underbelly if you like watching lying dope fiends and streetwalkers talk. What are these other guys and these podcasts going to talk about? Well, we'll have another good year or two of them. It's all going to be talking about the criminal indictments of this case, of the next, they're gonna keep trying to put Young Thug in jail. 4PF probably get indicted. There's gonna be they're gonna run through the rap industry with indictments in the next 18 months, federally. Mark my words. So that's what we'll be talking about. But I make other stories as well. Anyone watching my stuff, please subscribe, and go through all my stuff. I got 1,000 videos. I got 10 full-length documentaries on Amazon. Killing Jimmy Hoffa, American Dope, a story of American government and the global drug trade, Frank Matthews, Motown Mafia, T. Stuckey, Jimmy Hoffa's great, Killing Jimmy Hoffa, the true story of the Irishman, MK Ultra, CIA mind control, acid dreams, Cold War heroin heat about U.S. government, the CIA's role in the heroin trade from World War I up through the Vietnam War. So I talk about a lot of different stuff. So subscribe. But this Big U trial or indictment and all the social media stuff is very interesting and illustrative of what's going on in society. Is No Jumper trying? Is he? I think he wants to send out the message, I don't have as much money as you think I have, so don't try and sue me. Because he's had a lot of people on there talking crazy. If I were him, I would just trim down. And I might go back to, I don't know if people want to hear people interview about music. He should stop all this and try to be like the junior DJ Vlad. Like people that aren't quite big enough to go on Vlad, go on Soft White Underbelly, go on No Jumper, and then go on Vlad, and they could be like, he could be the farm team, because this thing he's doing is, I mean, it's not his fault. He doesn't make this up, but it's kind of bordering inappropriate, and he's putting himself at risk, because if Big U was using TV shows to create an air of intimidation so that he could extort people, if Adam 22 is letting people come and talk in a manner that's intimidating, well, you can see it's not much of a reach to say, well, he's doing the same thing. And how do I think Adam 22 is going to get charged with the RICO? No, but he may be at that edge of where he can kind of get pressured. They're certainly going to want footage. And let me tell you something, all them guys up there hanging around that come up there with guys who get interviewed, and they're hanging in the back, and those guys that got beat up in the alley by Luce Cannon and whoever else with Whack 100 there, we probably haven't heard the end of that. Adam's probably worried about a lawsuit from that. Big U might sue him, who knows? So I would imagine, he's got 4 extras on there. 4 extras, I don't know what he does. I mean, I guess he had some murder cases and he fights a lot. I don't know what really he's going to talk about over an extended period, but hey, whatever. I mean, he just another guy trying to make some money, so that's fine. I ain't mad at him. But I just don't know if he's a replacement for Bricc Baby and Luce Cannon, because they were pretty damn entertaining up until when they got took. But he's going to document all that and make it a documentary. So true crime has become very popular. We're going to see true crime documentary being made in real time. True crime live stream. That's what this is. The true crime live stream. The No Jumper, Big U, RICO. But Bricc Baby and Luce Cannon in the hole for fighting. Apparently somebody used the word naps, derogatory for neighborhood crip. Was Big U a part of it? Hard to say. Sharice Mills is becoming the reality star she always wanted to be. These are people that are definitely, this is their hustle. They're making money talking in public. So they're in too deep now. Why stop? Our profit American dope.